Hey people, John here from Fast Films, and today we're going to go through a 1990 dystopian movie called The Handmaid's Tale. The movie begins with a couple, Kate, Luke, and their daughter, attempting to immigrate to Canada. After driving for a while, they continue on foot into a snow-filled forest. As they attempt to cross the border, the Gilead border guards order them to turn back or they'll open fire. Luke draws their fire, telling Kate to run, and is shot. In the midst of the confusion, Kate and Luke's daughter, Jill, wanders off into the forest, confused and unaccompanied. Kate tries to go after her, but is captured by the patrol team. The authorities take Kate to a training facility with several other women, where she is processed and documented with the other women. Women who are not able to have children are locked up in a truck labeled livestock and are driven away. Kate watches with the other women as the truck drives away. Meanwhile, Jill wanders about in the forest alone and confused. Up next, Kate and another woman meet an official named Aunt Lydia. Lydia introduces herself to the women and asks them about their well-being. She tells them since they have been confirmed to be fertile and free from infection, they will become handmaidens. On the bus, she meets a lesbian named Maura, who asks her about how she was captured. Kate explains that she was captured while trying to escape from the country. The women are trained to become handmaids and are taken through a religious ceremony. Before they sleep, the women introduce themselves by whispering each other's name. Jill is seen still wandering the forest alone in search of her mother. In the next scene, the women have breakfast and are also provided with medicine that has been made compulsory for them to take. Lydia narrates that due to the pollution of the air and the rivers, all have dangerous chemicals. The nation has been plagued with sterility. She explains that only 1 out of 100 women can have children, while some others have refused to have children. The officials at the training camp brand the women and issue them barcodes. Up next, a woman is badly punished by Lydia for abusing her body. Lydia drives Kate to the house of a commander where she'll serve as a handmaiden. She is to serve as a concubine for the privileged but barren couple who run the country's religious fundamentalist regime. Kate meets with the commander's wife, Serena, who gives her instructions and tells her that the only way it would be possible for her to have a child is if she truly wants one. Kate joins the other maidens as they begin their introduction into the cult of the handmaidens. During one of the ceremonies, a woman shares her story about being abused in the past and having an abortion. She receives a backlash and insults from the other women as they begin to chant derogatory remarks at her. Kate heads to the bathroom to meet Maura and tells her that she has been placed with a family. Maura is devastated about Kate leaving and tells her she hasn't been able to find a family because most of the families are scared of her. She tells Kate that she's come up with a plan to escape. Kate tells her it's a bad idea, but Maura urges her to be positive. Up next, Kate and the other women are provided with a red dress to change into ahead of their consecration ceremony. A girl named Janine walks into the room in a hypnotized state and begins to talk to herself. The other women try to get her to snap out of the trance-like state and change into her red dress, but it doesn't work. Maura slaps Janine on the face, and it immediately brings her out of the trance. The women head to the consecration ceremony, which is presided over by a priest who tells them that they're headed into a world to fulfill their life duty for the greater glory of God. As the priest preaches on, Maura faints and is carried out by the guards into an ambulance. The handmaidens are instructed to approach the priest, and a red veil is placed over their heads. Kate is driven to the home of the commander, and her barcode is scanned when she gets there. She is let in by the maid and is directed upstairs to meet Serena, who shows her to her room and tells Kate that she would now be called Offred. While living in the house, Kate tries to settle into her new life but is tormented by dreams of her daughter alone in the forest looking for her. The next morning, Kate officially meets the commander, who comes to the sitting room to perform an Old Testament reading from the Bible and asks the household to say a prayer to bless their attempt at having a child. Her role as the commander's latest concubine begins in an emotionless manner as she lies between Serena's legs while the commander has his way with her, in the hope that she will bear them a child. After the commander finishes, Kate breaks down in tears, and Serena orders her out of the room to wash herself. The next day, Kate meets another maiden named Ovglen. Together, they head to the supermarket to purchase some food items for the household. They discuss the effect of the war on food supplies and then leave the store after paying. Back at the house, Kate finds it hard to sleep and heads down to one of the rooms and picks up a pair of scissors. One of the guards walks in and passionately kisses her. Afterward, he informs her that the Commander Fred would like to see her in his office by 10 p.m. the next day. The next morning, Kate and Offglen walk down the house, and Kate asks her about what happened to the last handmaiden that was brought, but Offglen tells her she has no idea. Serena does her gardening, and Fred approaches her to ask if she likes Kate. Serena tells him that Kate is better than the last girl. Later that night, Kate goes to see the commander in his office and tells her that he would like to get to know her better. He suggests that they play a game of Scrabble to ease the tension, and they settle down to play. Kate wins the game and the commander offers her a plate of fruits. He tells her that he knew she would win the game because he knows that she used to be a librarian. He informs her that he would be out of the house and tells her not to forget him. The next morning, Kate assists Serena with the gardening and tells her that she knows Kate has a missing daughter and that she would like to help Kate find her daughter. Kate is driven to a hospital for a pregnancy test. The doctor tells her that he knows her commander and that he has tried to have a child twice, all to no avail. Eventually, the doctor suggests that he is sterile. He further explains that many of Gilead's male leaders are as sterile as their wives and offers to help her, but Kate refuses. In the next scene, Serena inquires from Kate about the ceremony since she is still yet to conceive. Kate tells her that the commander has been too busy to copulate with her. Serena tells her that she has 1 more month to conceive, after which she would be up for reassessment. Afterward, Kate goes to the training center and meets Maura, who is back to the center after her escape plan fails. Later that night, they tie up the training officer in the bathroom. Maura takes her clothes and wears them. Maura escapes the facility dressed in the training officer's clothes. Up next, Kate plays card games with the commander in his office. The commander tries to get closer to Kate, sensing that if she enjoyed herself more, she would become a better handmaid. Exploiting Kate's background as a librarian, he gets her hard-to-obtain items like novels and magazines and allows her into his private library. Kate asks him to get her some hand lotion, and afterward they perform the mating ceremony. She leads back to the commander's office and he gives her the hand lotion. Kate asks him about the previous maiden and the commander tells her that the maiden took herself out because she couldn't conceive. The next morning, Serena, out of desperation, persuades Kate to risk the punishment for fornication in order to be fertilized by another man who may impregnate her and consequently spare her life. Serena suggests that she should mate with the commander's chauffeur, Nick. Kate agrees, and later that night, aided by Serena, she heads to Nick's room and they have fun. The next morning, Kate has breakfast brought to her by the maid and then goes to meet Serena. Serena informs Kate that her daughter Jill is alive and provides a recent photograph of her living in another commander's household. However, she tells Kate that she can never see her daughter again. Serena assures her that Jill is fine and being well taken care of. Kate goes to see Nick later in the night and tells him that her daughter is alive. Nick comforts her but tells her that she would never be allowed to see her daughter again. In the next scene, Kate and the other ladies attend a birthday ceremony for one of the maidens. The maiden successfully delivers a baby girl, which makes Serena urge Kate to conceive a child as soon as possible. Kate meets the commander in the office later that night and they discuss the country's politics. The next day, Kate and the other handmaidens attend the execution ceremony of a handmaiden who was caught in the act of fornication. They also execute a man who was accused of harassing a handmaiden. One of the handmaids approaches Kate and tells her that they would need her to help them take out the commander. The ceremony is attacked by rebels, but they are taken out by the military. Later that night, the commander takes Kate out to the club and introduces her to his colleagues as Mary. He tells her that she is allowed to have 1 drink and she orders a vodka tonic. Kate asks him who the dancers in the club are, and he tells them that most of them had good jobs in their former lives. Kate spots Maura in the club and goes to meet her in the bathroom. Maura tells her that she was caught at the border after trying to escape. She was then given an option of either being sent to the colonies or working at the club. Kate returns to the commander and they dance together. Afterward, the commander takes her to the bedroom at the club. They leave a few minutes later and return to the house. Kate heads to Nick's room and he gets mad at her for going out with the commander. Kate tells Nick that she is pregnant with his child and tells him that they need to find a means to escape. Up next, Serena confronts Kate for going out with the commander behind her back and verbally disgraces her. Kate tells her that she is sorry and returns to her room. The commander returns from a mission and Kate goes to see him in his office. He tells her that Serena has been mad at him for taking her out to the club. The commander tells her that she can return to her room, but before she leaves, he pulls her closer and thanks her for being a good companion to him. Kate takes a knife she has been hiding and takes out the commander. She runs out of the office and a police unit then arrives to take her away. Serena comes out of her room and tells the policeman that she never called for them. Nick shows up and tells Serena what had happened to the commander. Kate believes that the policemen are members of the Eyes, the government's secret police. However, when they get into the van, Nick tells her that they are soldiers from the resistance movement called Mayday. Kate then flees with them, but when they get outside the city, they part ways in an emotional way. It's announced on the news that martial law has been declared in the country due to the attacks by the rebels. The movie ends with a now free and heavily pregnant Kate living by herself in a trailer while receiving intelligence reports from the rebels. She wonders and hopes that she will be reunited with Nick, and also hopes the rebels will help her locate and rescue her daughter. Thanks for watching, guys.